Hey y'all, welcome back. It has been forever since I've done a stitch with me, so I'm not quite sure I remember how to do one, but I might need to bring this a tad bit closer to me so I can see what I'm doing. Hopefully, I can do this okay. I had a lovely person ask if I could kind of show how I do my stitching. So from what I see of how other people stitch, in my mind, and there's no right way or wrong way. First off, let's try this again. This is Stitch With Me, I believe, number 13. My name is Amy, and today I am working on Mother of Dragon. So she's a biggin. But I have been asked, like, how do I do my stitching? Which way do I stitch my X's? And very, very good questions. In my mind, I stitch backwards from everyone else. So let's see if I can possibly demonstrate. And I'm hoping that, one, I'll be able to get some good stitching in. And so that way I can kind of show you how I work directionally when I stitch, because I don't know how other people do it. I mean, like, I've watched other Stitch With Me's, don't get me wrong. I've watched other Stitch With Me's, and I've watched how everybody else stitches, and it looks fantastic. I think that my, how do I say this? I think my brain comprehends things a lot differently from other people. And I don't know if I'll actually be in a spot here where I can show and demonstrate with the cluster of stitching that I'm going to be doing today. But my X's, so typically when I watch someone stitch, their bottom leg goes from bottom left to top right. And then their top leg goes bottom right to top left, creating that X, right? So their top leg is facing this direction. My legs are the opposite way. So I stitch from bottom left to top right, and bottom right, geez Louise, I confuse myself. Bottom right to top left, and then bottom left to top right. So my X's are going this way. Now, talking to a lot of you stitch this way too, which is cool, because that means it's more of a 50-50 split of which way do your X's go versus I'm stitching backwards. So there's that. I am not a perfectionist when it comes to my stitching. I do this specifically for a hobby. I do this specifically for my family, and I have given things away, but they themselves were not cross stitchers, so it's not like they could, exactly critique my work or know if there was a mistake. So I do this for me. So I don't worry about, and I don't want this to come off as being rude, but I'm not worried about anyone else critiquing or being happy with my work, if that makes any sense without sounding too rude, because that's not what I'm getting at. But if someone wants to do back shaming or tell me that I'm doing it wrong, I thank them for their opinion and I move on. So I do my stitching for me. Now, when I first started stitching, because someone did ask, my X's are going in the opposite direction for two of my projects. And the first one is Snow White Discovers the Cottage, which is the Thomas Kincaid MCG Textiles kit thing that I bought like 12 years ago. And the Magnificent Wizard, which is a Dimensions Gold Collection kit. When I first started those, I followed directions based on what the pamphlet told me to do. And for some reason, when I decided to start stitching on my own, I flipped my stitches. I'm not sure why. I don't recall like actually switching them and realizing that I was doing them the wrong way until someone had asked me if I stitched in the opposite direction. And then it dawned on me that, holy cow, I now have two projects that I have to remember to stitch in quote unquote the wrong direction for me. So sometimes it gets a little confusing. I do have some stitches in Snow White that are facing the wrong direction. Nope, I'm not pulling them out to fix it. I'm just not. It's just going to add a little more texture, and that's perfectly fine by me. So, the way I stitch And I don't know, again, I don't think I do it intentionally. I think it's more of a, I'm not really concentrating, and this is just where my fingers are more comfortable and how I go with it. I never stitch in the same direction always. I'm trying to figure out the best way to explain that to make sense, because as soon as it fell out of my mouth, it no longer made sense. Some people will always stitch bottom right, top left, bottom left, top right, or vice versa. Always coming up in the same direction, always going down in the same direction. And I know that works well for people who park. I don't park. I've tried a gazillion different times, a gazillion different ways. I've watched 1,000,000+1 on YouTube. My brain does not work well with parking. I am more of a cross-country stitcher. Not extreme cross country. And the difference between those, in case anyone wants to know, is extreme cross country is where you take one color and go your entire pattern and stitch that entire color in. Cross country is typically when you're doing the same idea, but only within the page or section that you're working in. So, and please understand, I might misspeak. I don't know a lot of information about stitching. Please keep in mind, I am still fairly new. January will mark my 3rd year as a cross stitcher. So I am by no means an expert. I am in no way, shape, or form telling anyone which way it should be done. This is just my personal way of doing it, and I'm sharing it because someone had asked me. Because she is also planning on doing a Haid. So, and in my opinion, my brain is weird and it's random. So full coverage cross stitches work better for me, I think. My brain does not comprehend counting very well. So, and it seems odd for me to say that doing a Haid, but when I have to count empty spaces that just there's not going to be any stitches in, for some reason, I can't count past 2. Like, it's super annoying because there are some projects out there that are not full coverage that I will be doing next year. And I have some, in my stash or in my whip list that I'm doing right now that are not full coverage. But for some reason, when I count on something that has stitches that are not stitched, my brain like blips and it doesn't work. And I can never math it correctly. So I'm always off somewhere. And I'm not against frogging anything either. So I will frog if I have to. If I don't have to, I won't. But if I have to, I will frog. A lot of times when I make a mistake, I can't figure out where it's at. And if I can't figure out where it's at, I just keep going. So, I'm not quite sure if you can catch how I'm doing my stitches here. Let me see if I can zoom in just a little bit into the area that I'm in. So maybe I can try to somewhat explain how this is working. And I just did that row. Let me just highlight these real quick. Okay, let me see if I can zoom in on this little section right here. Okay, so we're focusing right here in this little section. Now, I know that I'm going to be working this way with my thread. Okay, so I will come in on the top left and go bottom right. Then I will come up bottom left and go top right. I hope I didn't say that backwards. Did I just say that backwards? I don't know. So again, I need my thread to move in this direction. So I'm going bottom right, top left, bottom left, top right. Okay, and let me just see where I'm at here. I need to keep those even. So let me just go ahead and finish stitching that across so I can show you what I do when I need to go back. Some people ask me, do I cross my legs, do the full cross and then move on, or do I do half stitch and come back? I do both. It depends on where I need my thread. So, and again, I don't think I'm in a situation right now in my pattern where I can demonstrate that very well, but hopefully I will keep doing these stitch with me's, and I will find a project at some point And I may not remember to talk about it, but hopefully y'all have keen eyes. I know that somebody will see it and catch it. So I meant to do a tag today, but I totally didn't look one up because I just didn't. Then again, I think Stitch With Me's are a little more intimidating than doing floss tube videos, because I'm trying to, in a way, count. I'm stitching, and then on top of that, I am trying to think of things to speak about. So right here, you can see I did the one leg. Instead of going bottom left to top right, I will go top right. I have a piece of hair there. Top right to bottom left. Now the reason why I'm doing that is because I know I need my thread to move downwards. I hope this is making sense to somebody. So now I will go bottom right to top left and top right to bottom left. And I will work my way this way. So my needle, and I think I do this more than anything so I remember where I'm at in my pattern. So if I look away, I don't lose my spot. So now I'm going to go top, maybe, come on, top left, bottom right, top right to bottom left. So my needle's always guiding me to where I'm going next. So let's just say, for an example, let's see if I can attempt to explain. I'm not very good at explaining things, so please bear with me. So let's say that I needed to stitch all of these in the same color, but did not need to use this color again until I came back over here. That's not the case in the pattern, but what I'm saying is let's say I had to stitch these 5 stitches right here, and I didn't have to stitch anything in this next row until I came back here. Right here, I would do the bottom leg only. I would do the bottom leg for these 5, and then do the 5 and come back, and then that way my jump for floss is only from here to here. It's only over those 2 stitches. And then I would do the 3 that I need to do here. I would come down and keep continuing on and on and on until I, finish my thread or finish the point of what I need for the pattern. So again, I'm not very good with words or messaging. I tried really hard to message back to the young lady who asked me, and I did not explain it very well. So hopefully I can somewhat explain it better here. Again, I'm trying to peek ahead into the pattern. I am using Pattern Keeper, which is I'm a huge advocate for. If you hear S'more in the background, I promise you she's not being abused. She's fine. She doesn't like the door closed. You might hear cheering from downstairs from my husband. Football is back. And our boys played today, and I don't even want to know if we won or lost. I think last I heard we were winning. I'm 98% sure the game is over now at this point. But, okay, let me see. If I go here, jump there, let's see. Yeah, it's fine. So let me just go here. And again, my brain is, when I tell y'all that I'm random, and we all kind of ha joke over how random I am, I literally am very random when it comes to especially when it comes to my stitching. I usually don't get to stitch in rows like this on a Haid. It just so happens that I'm working on like the background of the castle part of the pattern right now, that I am able to go back and forth, which is kind of nice, because again, I don't get to do that very often. So I hope everyone is having a good week. Kind of get a little more on the personal edge here instead of on the knowledge of cross stitch that I have somewhat taught myself, which I still don't feel very knowledgeable, but I am more than willing to share my thought process, because I know I like to hear what other people are thinking and doing as they're doing them. But this week has been a little hectic and a little crazy because grades are supposed to be turned in tomorrow, and there are assignments missing, but nobody can figure out what the assignments are. Things are not graded, but nobody knows when they're gonna get graded. It's been a hectic week. I cannot believe we are talking fall break already. This is insane. It's like I fell asleep and August was over. September's right around the corner to being halfway done. And my kids are, this week coming up is their last week before 2 weeks of fall break. So, I'm not quite sure how we got there. Not quite sure how we got there already. Next quarter, my kids will technically be enrolled in online schooling. Now, I'm going to need to flip this, and I hope that by flipping it, it doesn't... Let me just kick my tablet back just a little bit. And let me just go ahead and end this. So I was watching Karen, who is the Needlebug here on YouTube. She does live streamings on Twitch, I think it's called. Jules is doing it too from Stitching Jules. They both do live streaming as they are cross-stitching, which I think is super cool. I don't do Twitch as of right now. I don't know enough about it to feel like I need to or want to, so... But anyways, Karen the Needlebug is a phenomenal person to ask for information. She has a lot of knowledge and is very good at explaining things and teaching things in a way that's easy to understand. And I was watching her, I can't say most recent because I am behind. I am really behind on watching floss tubes. So I'm catching up slowly. And in one of her videos, she was talking about how, you know, for some people, the back being extremely neat is very important, and that's okay. And for other people, if their backs look like string art, that is okay too. And I'm like, yes, that's me. I'm totally a string artist in the back. I have threads all over the place. Now, I'm trying my bestest with patterns that are not full coverage to not carry threads, but my instinct is to just carry them because that's what I do when I have a HAID or any full coverage project. And I do quite a bit of them. So my other issue right now is that, and it's not an issue like in a bad way, but right now for some reason, every time I pull out a project, I don't want to put it down. I just want to keep stitching and stitching and stitching on it. So I did a homework assignment with this one, which only required 140 stitches. This week was a little different. It's a little different, took a little bit of brain power. I'm not good at stopping when I'm supposed to. So if you tell me I have to do 1,000 stitches, that's fantastic, because if I do 2,000, it's no big deal. But when you tell me I have to do like 140, it's a lot harder for me to figure out where I'm supposed to stop. I don't want to stop. I just want to keep going. So we finished, where am I? 3. Okay. My husband and I were watching the Game of Thrones series because I finally finished all the books. And so we've been watching that at night. And we just finished that off. I kind of really wish that George R.R. Martin would go ahead and complete the book series. Because not that the show was completely off from the books. Because there were quite a few, you know, a lot of details that were similar. But there were some major things in there that I felt like, we missed the mark on that one. So, and I totally didn't expect the ending. I don't know what I thought the ending would be, but I'm 98% sure that what happened was not it. So, I'm not very good at predicting things either, so that's okay. I think the next one we're going to try to binge watch, because that's what we usually, well, let me rephrase. Since the whole, hey, you guys are locked up in the house, pretend like you love each other type thing has happened, we have been going to bed and watching a show or a short movie, you know, because Game of Thrones, some of them got to be about an hour, hour and a half. So we were trying to figure out what we want to watch now that Game of Thrones is done. And I think we may have settled on The Sopranos. So if you've seen The Sopranos, let me know yay or nay. Don't tell me anything, because like I said, we're going to start from very, very beginning. And neither one of us have ever watched it. We've always wanted to, but we've either never had the time or never, you know, really thought about it. And now that we have, what did he do? I think the hubby did the membership something or other with the YouTube TV for the HBO Max, is it called? I don't know. That's the hubby's department. But we found a boatload of shows that, oh man, I really wanted to watch that, and then they took it off the air, so we couldn't watch it. So, and then we were talking with the kids, because at dinner time, every now and then, we will let the kids sit in the living room with us, and we'll pick out a 30-minute show to watch together. Kind of helps keep them on track on, not sitting in the kitchen for an hour and a half eating dinner. So, if we give them 30 minutes, it's kind of more of like a timer, but it's a fun timer. And so we watched Mr. Iglesias, which is his name Gabriel? His nickname is Fluffy, and he's a stand-up comedian. He's absolutely hilarious. And Mr. Iglesias is Fluffy as a high school teacher. If I had him as a high school teacher, I feel like I would have done more. Like, I would have been more involved. Just seems like one of those teachers that every person could use in their life at one point or another. But anyways, so we finished that, and then, of course, the whole COVID thing, so no longer recording. They ended up releasing, I think, half of the next season, because that part did get recorded. And so now we're waiting for the second half, but that's all right. So now we're talking to the kids, and the kids are really interested in watching Friends. So I'm a huge Friends fan, and that was my show. So we think that, there's some mild adult humor in there, but I don't think it would be anything that's inappropriate for them, if that makes sense. They're 10 and 12, just in case anyone's wondering. So I think we might binge watch Friends with our kids for the next 5 years, because it was a 10-year show. So if we watch an episode a night-ish, because we don't typically watch shows together on the weekend. On the weekends, we do movie night. And right now, our series that we're doing is Harry Potter. So we just finished 5, which I believe is Order of the Phoenix. And so next weekend, we will do number 6. And then the following weekend, we will do number 7. And I think that's it, right? Is that it? I think there's only 7. So, and then, of course, the hubby and I are talking about, well, this is almost over. What do we do now? And I think we're going to start the Marvel series over. And we're going to watch them, not in the order that they were made, but the order they were supposed to be watched. Kind of like, Star Wars. If you watch them in the order they were meant to be watched, it makes a little more sense versus how they were made. So, that might be another good series to do, too. We could do the Star Wars series. Because myself and my young kids have never seen the original Star Wars. So that might be fun. I'll have to talk to the hubby about that one. So let me just highlight here. So I don't know if I have you guys close enough to where you can see. Oh, has my big old hand been in the way this whole time? I don't know. I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention. Where am I? I am there. Oh, I have been highlighting. Look at me go. It's become such a habit that I don't even realize I'm doing it anymore. That's okay. I'm hoping my hand hasn't been in the way this entire time to where you can see where my needle is going, where I'm putting the thread, and how I'm stitching, and how my brain kind of works, and how it works for me. So I skip that one and come here. Am I in the right? 1, 2, yeah, okay. Sometimes when you're stitching with these gray lines and you're using gray thread, they blur together and I get confused. It's okay though, we're good. Skip that one. Nope, skip 2. Hold on. Nope, hold on, I'm confused. Bam, this one, this one. This, was I highlighting as I went? Please hold. Okay. So this is this row. Got it. This is this row. This, okay, that's where I got it. I'm good. I missed highlighting one row. Okay. So if you have any good series that we should watch, let us know. I will let you know right off the bat, the Game of Thrones was a little rough for me to watch. I don't do a lot of nudity. It's not my thing. And so there, I kind of feel like I missed like 25% of the show of what was happening, but I could hear what was going on, so that was fine. But so you know, I know some people are really into those type of shows. I am not. My husband is, so if you still want to recommend those, just say, hey, for the hubby, you should watch blah blah blah. But yeah, we're kind of trying to figure out, like, I kind of like the routine that we've got going right now. And I think even with, you know, life somewhat returning to normal in some areas better than others, because I live in Arizona, so we're not going to talk about that. But I feel like I feel like we're just going to be in quarantine. We're just going to be in our own bubble. We're just going to be in quarantine for years to come. But that's okay. We will get there eventually, and I'm just going to have to cross my fingers that someday people get it, that, you know, we should just be doing what we're supposed to be doing, or just stay inside. Again, not getting into politics or any of that matter. I kind of hope that when life becomes the new norm, and we get to go outside and see what the new norm is going to be, because obviously the old norm was not working, that we'll still keep onto those routines, and we'll still, you know, the hubby and I will still find shows to watch together. And I mean, not that we weren't before. We would watch shows together and, you know, eat dinner at the table and enjoy our shows and things like that. But to catch up on shows that we've not watched or have always wanted to watch but just never did for whatever reason, because there were at the time a gazillion one other new things happening, I think it would be fun to just kind of go back in time and watch the good shows we used to love. Fresh Prince is on there, which I'm super excited about, because I'm 98% sure I've seen most of them, but I know there's at least one or two that I've missed. So I think the kids and I are gonna, the hubby might join in on that one too, because he likes that show. We might watch that one from the beginning. That would keep us entertained for quite some time, I believe. I'm not quite sure how many seasons there were of Fresh Prince, now that I think about it. Not quite sure. And the hubby was talking about how they might do a revamp of Fresh Prince and make it more of a drama than a comedy. Not quite sure how that's going to go. But apparently it got the thumbs up approval from Will Smith. So, you know, as one of the main characters in the show, I believe that he should get a say. I trust his judgment. So, wow. See, this is why Stitch With Me's make me nervous, because I never know what I'm going to say. I never know what's going to fall out of my mouth. I never know what's going to happen. It just happens. I'm so grateful and so glad that so many people have asked me to do Stitch With Me's again, because I do enjoy them, and I feel like we can chit-chat a little bit more about personal things, because, you know, I'm not showing off haul or what I've stitched on for the week. I'm just stitching with my peeps and having a lovely conversation. Did I already trap that in there? Because I am just that, wow, look at me go. I don't know if any of y'all saw that happen. I might have to rewind that and watch it happen, because I don't know how I did it. Somehow I caught my loop before I even knew I was in the loop. So, yeah, life is getting a little chaotic for some more than others. For those who are unfortunately amongst the wildfires, I hope that everyone is staying safe and staying well and evacuating when needed to, I should say. It's just, we've got fire on one side and water just everywhere on the other, and I keep telling my kids, Mother Nature's mad, man. She's mad. I'm not quite sure how this is supposed to fix it, but it's insane, the weather that is going on right now. We had, I believe, what did the hubby tell me? I don't remember exactly. It was something along the lines of, we had beaten the record of having hottest consecutive days in the month of August. I think on average it was like for 10 days straight around the 112, 115 area, and it was hot. We didn't want to go outside to check the mail. That's just where we were at. You know, we've been cooped up in the house for so long that we have forgotten what it's like to live in Arizona because we've been in air conditioning and in cool weather inside the house. So when we step outside to go check the mail, your lungs shrivel up and you kind of forget how to breathe for a minute. At least that's what my son tells me. It was so funny. When it really started getting warm, he opened up the door to go check the mail and he looked at me and he goes, "Mom, I think my lungs shriveled up and died." I'm just like, well, I think you'll make it. He's like, "It's really hot out there." I'm like, "I know, and you guys used to beg me to go outside and play in this weather." He's like, "I don't know how we did it." And I'm like, you know what? As an adult, I feel the same way. I have no idea. At his age, I was outside, I was walking around, I was running, I was riding a bicycle, I was all over the place. Although, I did live in Vegas, and I don't recall ever having 115-degree weather. I could be wrong. It's happened before, but the weather is just... It's cooling off now. We're finally in the lower 100s. I had to run an errand today with my little one, Scarlett, and her and I got to go and do an errand, and I can't even begin to tell you how ecstatic we were that I got in the car and it said 101 degrees. That was super exciting. So there was that. What do we have planned coming up this week? I know this week... Oh, I didn't go over homework or anything. Now that I think about it, it's Sunday. Did I even tell you guys what day it is? Is anyone still here? Because it's 30 minutes in. It's Sunday. I know, weird, right? September 13th. And I might even record my floss tube today. We shall see. I don't feel very presentable. But on the flip side, I'm not sure that I'm worried about feeling presentable. It's Sunday. But I think I might switch my days to recording all the things on Sundays. That's the days where, because we do most of our chores on Saturday. And so Sunday is kind of everybody's day to just chillax and do what they want to do. And I think Scarlett is in her room either talking to a friend on Kids Messenger or she's watching Harry Potter again. And I think my son is playing a video game with one of his friends from school, and the husband is downstairs watching football, and I am up here stitching, which is fantastic. It's really nice that we all kind of have our own things to do, and then when the dinner time rolls around, we all know to get in the kitchen together, and we all help each other cook, and we help each other, plate the meals, and all sit down, and just a nice little routine that we have going, and I'm actually really, really enjoying it. It's nice to know that we all don't have to be in the exact same spot at the exact same time all the time. I think if that were to happen, I would have gone bazonkers by now. But I can hear Scarlett talking to one of her friends. I don't know what she's saying, but I can hear her. She's a crack up. Hoot and a half. This one. Okay. Yeah, we were running our errand earlier and she was telling me the story about the show that she watches and all the things, and the cashier was just sitting there and she was just smiling as big as she could be, and she goes, "Just brings back the memories of when my kids used to just ramble on and on and on about some show they were watching and I had no idea what they were talking about, but I just let them keep talking." It's like, yeah, pretty much. I try really hard to follow what she's talking about, because I know she's going to come back at me later and quiz me on it, but it's really hard to, because she speaks like I've seen the show with her, so she uses a lot of pronouns instead of nouns, so she'll like, "Oh, and they did this and they did that," and I'm like, wait, back up, who's they? Wait, I got confused. You have to tell me who they is again. She's like, "Oh, Mom, it's so and so and so and so," and I'm like, okay, all right, I'm following you now. But you gotta use their names, kid. I don't know what we're talking about. You want me to keep up? Use names. So, that was super fun. Her and I got about an hour or so, little girl date, going out. Didn't do much. But it's fine. It was better than nothing. I'm pretty sure the boy was in his room playing video games and my hubby was downstairs watching football. 98% sure that's how that worked. So you're about to hear a really weird sound in case anybody asks. I do vape. So you might hear that noise every once in a while in my videos. Do not worry, everything is fine. I promise. I had somebody ask what the weird popping noise was in the background. And that's what it is. So, oh, don't lose the floss, man. Hey, my fan is trying to take my floss out. Stay there. And the dogs are barking in the backyard. It must be getting close to 5. Must be getting close to 5, because that's when they decide. All the neighbors, for some reason, like, my dogs have free reign, so they can go in and out whenever they want. But I think the neighbors around us have more of a time clock type thing, because at 5 o'clock, yeah, we're sitting at about 5:15 right now. It's like all the neighbors let the dogs out all at once, and my dogs feel like they need to, you know, give the update of what's been going on all day long. And they will bark from now until 9 o'clock when we lock them up inside. If they wouldn't bark all night long, we probably wouldn't lock them up inside. But I have Chiweenies. I have 3 of them, and they are all female. And they will talk your ears off. Or lick you to death. I mean, you know. Those are the 2 things that my dogs are really, really good at. So I thought about doing a Stitch With Me live. Not gonna lie, I'm a tad bit terrified that, well, number one, I can't count. So we all know this. I'm not ashamed of it. It's just who I am. I can't count. So I'm a little nervous to try to keep up with the chat and try to stitch at the same time. But I don't know. I think we could do it. I've also, oh, before I forget, because we're already almost 40 minutes in, my bad. The hubby can yell at me later. I will try my best to remember it during the floss tube. My hubby has created a buy me coffee link. Buy me a coffee? Buy me a coffee? Is that what it's called? Shoot, I don't even know. But if you go into the box, the description box down below, there will be a link that says buy me a coffee. And I am not asking for money in any way, shape, or form. Do not feel pressured. Do not feel like it's necessary in order to watch my videos. I just know that some people would like to support in any way they can, and I think buying a coffee is a fantastic way to do that. So, like I said, there is a link. If you would like, click on that, buy a coffee, and either way, if you do or don't, I still appreciate you being here, and appreciate you guys being my peeps, and for y'all understanding where I'm coming from, and that my oddness is not mine alone. Because sometimes I feel like I'm pretty odd. I was always the outsider as a kid. I was never like the loner or the one who got bullied, but I always felt like I was different. And I kind of feel like that in stitching, and not in a negative way, so please don't anyone take that in a negative way. But I'm not a prim stitcher. I don't do samplers. I don't do a lot of smalls, obviously, you know, starting 20 heids next year. Big projects are just my thing. The thing that I love about the stitchy community, though, is that even though we're all stitching on a gazillion different things by a gazillion different designers, we still have something that unites us. It's still a hobby that keeps us together. And that is just awesome. Because I have had comments that were like, you know, I don't really stitch on what you stitch, but I still like hanging out with you. And that's fantastic. Stitching is what brings us together, but it's the friendships that are made beyond that are just mind-boggling to me. I've made quite a few good friends on here. And it's just YouTube and quote-unquote FlossTube has just, it's made the world a little bit smaller so that we could meet people that we can relate to from all over the world and have conversations with. And it's fantastic. It's so fascinating. Technology and I do not get along, as you will see. You know, with Technology Meltdown, I have 2 new Randall Spangler projects that'll be done next year. Not completed. Started. Let me rephrase. They'll be started next year. Which is Computer Catastrophes and Virus Detected. Computer Catastrophes was gifted to me by one of my lovely peeps. And virus detected, I couldn't say no. I just couldn't say no. It was too perfect for everything that's going on this year. And I keep forgetting that you're super zoomed in. So, like, I keep seeing my hands flash across the screen, but not really being able to see them. So, I was sitting here earlier and planning for, I think I'm going to do a parade, a start parade. I don't know what to call it. I'm not quite sure. I haven't figured that part out yet. But we're going to go over everything I plan to start next year. And I mean everything. So I think I'm going to take this fall break that we have coming up. My husband will be on vacation for the first week, which will be super nice. And I think what I'm going to do is I am going to measure again, have the husband verify that I've measured correctly, and start cutting up those big yards of fabric that I have bought throughout this year, and start prepping and matching fabric to project and getting it going. I am so pumped and so excited and so ready to start all the new starts. Next year is going to be insane. And I think I could literally do a start every day. Every day next year. I wouldn't, because then obviously none of the other projects would see any type of love. I have a knot somewhere. I feel it. Something is twisted. Okay. Maybe that will solve it. But if any of you watch Jan Hicks, I freaking love her, number one. Number two, she mentioned a while back on one of her videos about this app she uses called Readly. It's Readly. And it's basically an app for magazines. You pay a monthly subscription, and it's $9.99. And basically you can look up all the magazines. So I went through and I was like, I did the 2-day trial that you could do or whatever. And I was messing around and I was looking through all the magazines, and I'm like, holy cow, they have the 2 magazines that I'm looking for, which Tina Fraser, who is also here on FlossTube, she's also a diamond painter, so if you're interested in either of those, please go check her out and give her some love. Let her know I sent you. Tina Fraser, she's awesome. She had these 2 magazines, and I think it's World of Cross Stitch volume 295 and 296, if I remember correctly. And they have, in the 295, there was the geisha, the female, with the, it's kind of like her stand. I should have taken a picture or something, but I'm recording with my phone, so I can't show you. She's standing like in a window, and you can see like the background of Japan in front of her. And then in the next magazine, 296, there was the samurai. Now, I don't have any male samurais. I don't have any of those. I looked, and the dimension kits are gorgeous, and they're super pricey. They're kind of like the Lady of the Flag, like super overly inflated, because they're hard to find. So, although I did find one, and it was just the pattern, which is totally fine, and it was like $15, and I was like, okay, what's wrong with it? And I think when I actually looked at the pictures, like right dead center of the, oh, I can't remember what it's called. It was samurai something. I don't remember. Anyways, like right dead center of the pattern, like there was a chunk of it missing. And I'm like, oh man, don't think I'd be smart enough to figure out what goes there. So, of course I didn't get it, and it was for an auction, and it got sold. But I thought, how cool is that? I'm paying $9.99 a month, and I went through every single magazine, y'all. It was addicting. Went through every single magazine, and I just bookmarked all the things. And I learned something about myself while bookmarking all these things. I realized I like Halloween. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know. I'm not a big holiday person just in general. Growing up, holidays were not that great for me. So my husband does his best to make them better for me and for my family, because he's just awesome like that. And he grew up loving holidays. So, I never thought that I would be like, oh, it's Halloween, I have to stitch this. No, I totally turned into that person. Totally get it. Michelle, I'm here. Bendy Stitchy, in case you don't know her. Halloween 365. I'm in. I'm totally in. Didn't know I would be, but here we are. So I went through like every single magazine they offered. They do have the Stitch magazine on there, which is super cool. Who is Jamie from, I think the UK. I can't remember exactly where, and now I feel bad. Mr. X Stitch. He's super cool. Why do I feel like I just stitched that in the wrong spot? Where am I? No, 1, 2, okay. See, I look away for 2 seconds, and that's legit all it takes for me to get confused. Let me highlight that row because I just did that one. Let me do this one. But yeah, I bookmark a boatload of patterns I didn't even know I wanted. It's crazy. But yeah, highly recommend. If you're looking for magazines but you don't want to have all the paper and the magazines and all that, and you're cool with looking at it digitally, I believe it's offered for Android and for iPhone, so either one can get it. And it's Readly, Readly. Best thing ever. I'm trying to get the hubby to look at it because I saw some woodworking ones in there, and the weather is cooling off a little bit to where the hubby might actually be able to get outside and start doing some woodwork again because he really wants to learn. So, am I still in frame? Where am I? I hope so. But they've got some gaming magazines in there that I think the kids would like. It's totally worth it. I think, anyway. I'd much rather pay $9.99 a month and get back issues and all sorts of stuff than try to search for that one magazine that has that one pattern in it that I'm looking for and spend $13 or whatever it is on it. So, I am super excited. I am curious as to when the Christmas magazines are coming out, though, because some people have gotten them, I think. I thought I saw Danielle show hers. I don't know if maybe it was the digital pattern, though, because I think I subscribed when the husband subscribed for me to get the magazines. I think it was for the hard copy as well. So I'm not exactly sure how that works. Only time will tell. So, where are we at? 47. I may call it quits here pretty soon. I don't know if... I know some people love the longer stitch with me's. So, if you're good with the longer stitch with me, let me know, and I'll just keep going, because I don't... Once I can get my brain going on a subject or a topic or something, which now I don't even know what we've talked about over the last 40 minutes, I think I could do the long ones. I don't mind them, because like I said, I'm very rambly, and I can just keep going and going and going. And it's kind of like Caroline says, I'm a real good talker. I don't really talk much throughout the day, which is nice, because I need that mental break of not always being on and having to carry conversation 24/7. Which I think is another reason why I think it's nice that my kids can still kind of socialize with their friends. So they're not missing out too much on the social front of things. So I think, am I in that next box? Come on, little buddy. I can't see where I'm going. Yep. All right, so I've done this one. And this is my next one. Okay. So I'm gonna pull this to the back. And I'm gonna stop right there, and I'm just gonna keep going down. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing. I'm just gonna keep going down this row, and still can't see what I'm... No. Stop pinching the fingers, lady. Listen. I don't know what I'm doing. Watch out for the earthquake. Sorry. Okay. I'm just gonna keep... I'm filling it. Where am I? I'm here. Yeah, here. I'm just gonna keep filling this in. And then there's a whole bunch more over here that I'll need to work on, so I'll get all that done. And then I will start planning for homework tomorrow, and possibly do a floss tube tonight. Sun's kind of already going down, so we'll see what happens there. But on that note, I will bid you adieu. Stay random, don't kiss your projects, and I'll see y'all next time.